Hey YouTube, thanks for coming back, taking another look at my channel, giving me another chance. I really appreciate you coming in to see me again. Well, in this week's video, we're going to talk about this week is simple recessive genes. And I only work with about 6 simple recessive genes in my collection. And so what I thought we would do this week is I'm not going to give you a top 5, obviously. The ones that I have are my favorites. The ones that I'm working are my favorites, and what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to start with my simple recessive gene that I am least excited about, which I'm still very excited about. I'm very excited about all the projects that I have, but I'm just going to rank them from the most excited to less excited about than the top one. So I'm going to start with the bottom of my list of my simple recessives and show you the simple recessive projects that I'm working, my opinions, what I'm trying to accomplish in each project, and what I'm shooting for. So, I like when I'm breeding, I like to make my own combos. So I start off with single gene, double gene, incomplete dominant combos, and I started off with single gene simple recessive animals. I want to be able to show the project in its entirety. I like the story that the breeding tells, and I want to be able to breed something that I'm just adding to what I've already got. And so I think having single gene and double gene animals around is always going to be valuable for breeders. It kind of gives you a restart. It kind of gives you a way to go back and maybe to take another path. But I really think in this hobby is we go too quick. We don't really get to see what our adult animals in each project are going to look like before we start continuing down the path. And I really think that you really need to let stuff develop to see if maybe you're even on the right path. You might not even be on the right path, but now you don't want to figure that you're on the wrong path 8 breedings in because you're just banging them out one after another. And now all of a sudden you realize, hey, somewhere about 3 or 4 breedings ago in this project, I went off on some tangent that I never intended to do. So I really believe that your single gene, double gene animals are very valuable, much more valuable than most people give them credit of being. So take a look. We're going to go see some animals. Again, I've been here too long with you. So hold on. Here we go. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. My genetic stripe female. She's a visual genetic stripe. Again, when I was talking about genetic stripe and quality, you want that stripe to be head to tail with no breaks. She looks like she's interested in tasting me, so we're just going to touch her nose just to let her know, hey, we're not playing that game. So that's a regular genetic stripe. This is banana genetic stripe. These are my genetic stripe animals. Female's just about up to breeding size. I'll probably pair her next year. I'm currently breeding the banana. The banana genetic stripe is going to my pastel lesser leopard pinstripe female in the hopes that we're going to make some hets. Obviously, I'll probably keep a male het, like a het with leopard. I really like to make the leopard genetic stripe. If you don't know what leopard does with genetic stripe, you should probably go check it out. Pretty cool. Really makes the outline of the stripe on their back, this black outline, very thick. And so just really like, and she's wound my hook. I like when they do that. But so genetic stripe. This is my first. He's got a little stuck shed. Last time he shed, we soaked him, but we didn't quite get it all off. Probably needs another soak. All right, genetic stripe. That's my number 5, simple recessive. My number 4 simple recessive gene in my collection. This one's a little harder to tell, right? This is a full-blown, full-growed, adult female VPI xanthic. She is the matriarch of my VPI xanthic project. This female I got from Sean Bradley. I think it was Exotics by Nature was the name of his company. One of the very first podcasts, ball python podcasts ever. It's called Ball Shit with an I was an exclamation point. But that is VPI xanthic visual female. When I got her, she was 86 grams. She's probably 10, 11 years old, maybe. That's what a 10-year-old female ball python that doesn't get the crap fed out of her look like. She eats one meal every 4 weeks, a nice size medium, and she's in beautiful body condition. And so let's see if I can find something else with the little VPI xanthic in it. This is not a great example because this gene doesn't really lend itself well to being an xanthic. Because that's HRA VPI xanthic. So it browns out a little bit. Not real happy with that. Okay, so he's going to hook the tub and not want to play anymore. So there he is. We're just going to hold his tail. But you see with the HRA, that red xanthic, that red hue really wants to come through on the VPI xanthic, right? So we're going to need to help this with either like a fire or an Enchi. I'm thinking the Enchi HRA VPI xanthic, which will then kind of be a double homozygous animal because Enchi and HRA are allelic, and then VPI xanthic is a simple recessive. So it's basically a super. HRA and Enchi will be an ALS X-like super. So you'll have a super with an X-like super in the pairing. Still looking for that thing that really makes that gray scale, gray and black, really stay all the way into adulthood. So I would call these a pair of adults. This boy is her son. My number 3 simple recessive gene of all time. I don't know about all time. Right now, let's say currently, this is a single gene male, adult, proven breeder, single gene desert ghost, pause het clown. Didn't try to prove out his pause het this time. We just wanted to make some het desert ghost stuff. So I put him to a pastel lesser cinnamon leopard. 4 gene female, right? And so that's why if you stack the genes first and then start making your hets, you're going to get a lot more incomplete dominant genes involved in your heterozygous animals. So what I'm really hoping to do is I'm really hoping to get all 4 genes in an animal, and they're all going to be 100% het desert ghost. This guy's busy, so maybe I'll put him away and I'll show you another example. This is my female, right? This is why I started making hets this year with my male. I love this snake. This was a pickup. I didn't make this. This is Desert Ghost, Visual Desert Ghost with Enchi and Fire. Enchi Fire is one of my favorite combos. It's what I like putting into most of my combos is eventually it's going to see Enchi Fire. I just love how clean and crisp it looks, right? Really smooth, really creamy looking, no browning, no tipping. Just a really pretty snake, really clean looking animal. And that's why Desert Ghost is my number 3 simple recessive gene. I really like it. She's a female, so we're growing her up. And now I've got my male is a proven breeder. I got 5 eggs in the incubator that should start pipping any day now. I'm checking them every day. They're on hatch date number 60.
Day 60 would be May 11th. Today being May 6th. We're on day 55. No pippers yet. That's it. That's Desert Ghost. We're making some hets. They're about to hatch. Like to keep a male out of that, right? And as we grow up this female, we'll grow up that male het. And eventually we'll put the male to this female and make visual Desert Ghost stuff. This girl brings the inchy fire. And then hopefully that het male will bring cinnamon, lesser, leopard, and pastel. Right, that'd be a nice little 6-gene Desert Ghost combo, I think.
All right, welcome back to another Get to Know Coach. In this week's Get to Know Coach, I just kind of, after last week's video, kind of want to reflect. And so I'm not going to do a video for next week on, what are the 5 simple recessive genes that I think every breeding collection, ball python collection should have, because now you know that I'm never going to tell you that. I'm never going to tell you what you should have in your collection, because that's your job. And so that's not going to happen, because I've already made that point. And if you didn't watch last week's video, I think you should go take a look at it. Here on my YouTube channel, I'm going to give you choices. I'm going to show you things that I like and what I think is nice, and I'm going to give you that information, and I'm never ever going to tell you what I think you should have in your collection. I think it's out of bounds. I think it's out of bounds when anybody tries to tell you what you should be doing. If you've been in this hobby for any bit of time, you know the projects that are out there. You know the genetics that are out there. You know what's available to you. And you can make that decision on your own. You don't need somebody to tell you what the hot genes are. I mean, go on Morph Market and sort them by price, and you'll see what everybody thinks is the hot thing right now. The thing that I like to point out to people is every hot thing in this hobby isn't going to be hot forever. At some point, it's going to be in the middle of the road. It's the middle of the, hobby stack somewhere. And jumping in real hard in any one thing is probably not advisable if you're trying to be a business. But if you're trying to be a hobbyist like me, I jump in and I do projects that I want to do because I want to do them. And I just think that, take a step back. Watch these videos for FYI, right? For your information. Everybody's channel. Well, that's his opinion there, and this is his opinion there. And then if you do that and you gather enough data, enough information from different sources, then you're able to come up to an educated opinion on your own and decide on what you want to do for yourself. Always cringe a little bit when I see these videos out on YouTube about, these are the 5 genes that no collection should be without, or this is no breeder should be out, not doing this. Don't tell me what I should be doing. I'm never going to tell you what you should be doing. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I might show you some different options of things you could do, but I'm never ever going to show you a video and say, this is what you need to be doing. I'll never do that. I don't like when people do it to me. Why would I do it to you? I think we're all adults here. We're all capable of making our own decisions. We're all capable of going out and seeing what's hot and what's not, and making our decisions accordingly. A lot of my projects, I really don't care if they're hot or if they're not, because I'm doing them for me. I'm doing the projects that I'm doing, but I'm doing them for me. I'm doing them so that is what I like to see. It's what the animals I like to do. And they may not be the genetically packed animals that you're used to seeing on some YouTube channels. To me, I feel like I'm a more realistic look at a hobbyist ball python breeder. You know, I just think that everybody's got their own race to run. They've got their own path to hike, and it should all be up to them and their decision. I will tell you this, that, you know, people that are always asking what everybody else is doing and try to follow what everybody else is doing, they don't last that long in this hobby. They just don't. You know, the people that aren't afraid to step out and do their own thing, those are always the people in this hobby that get rewarded. Those are always the people in this hobby that get noticed. It's because they've stepped out and done something nobody else is doing. They're working a project that not many people are working. Or they're taking a project that a lot of people are working and they're going a different direction with it, doing their own spin on it. And I think that's what we're kind of missing in this hobby, is we're missing some individuality. So my thing is I'm always trying to be unique. I'm always trying to be doing something that a lot of people aren't doing. That's why I love the HRA gene. I love the HRA gene because of what it does and what it, you know, it's just incredible. It blows me away. But I also really started getting into the HRA gene because I really didn't see anybody working the project. You know, I really didn't see anybody other than Corey Woods, who is the founder of the HRA gene, really working with it that extensively. It was almost like every time I see HRA into something, it was almost like an afterthought. Like it was already in the animal, so it's just, that's why it's in the next one. They weren't breeding to move HRA forward in a project. It was HRA was stuck in a different project for them. And that's what I've seen a lot of. That's what I've seen a lot of with HRA. So when I really looked at the gene, and I really like the black back, all my HRA stuff is black backed. I don't have any HRA stuff that isn't black backed. Because that's what I'm trying to do with the project. That's what I'm trying to do with the gene. I'm trying to see how far we can push that black back. So I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to be unique. I'm trying to have projects that are unique. Now, not all of my projects are unique. I think that's the special thing that we have in this hobby, right? You can see something you like, and you can either just go buy it outright, or you can go buy the ingredients to make it yourself. I've always chosen to buy the ingredients to make it myself, even on the simple combos. Because even the simple combos back when I started this were very expensive. Very expensive. So I like to do a lot of this stuff on my own. I'm trying to get to a point where just about every animal in my collection was produced here by me. I don't know that I'll ever get 100%, but I'm trying to get well into the 90s for sure. That's the premise behind why I'm never going to give you, this is what I think you should be doing. You'll never see that video on this channel. You might see this is what I'm doing and this is what I like. FYI, if you'd like to look at it and see what you think about it. I don't feel like I'm going to be restricted to just showing egg pullings, egg cuttings, clutch updates, and unboxings. I want to be more than that. I want to really show you this hobby. I really want to show you that you don't have to be a business, that you don't have to be cutting edge, that you don't have to be top of the list, and that you can still have a great time and you can still be relevant. I just want you to think about, you know, what path do you want to blaze in this hobby? If you're watching this video, you're interested at least in this hobby. You're at least looking, you might be researching. But really think about, how are you going to be different? How are you going to be unique? What projects are you going to work on that not everybody's working on? Because that's what this hobby is going to become about really quickly. To the women and men that aren't afraid to do something unique, that aren't afraid to step out there and be unusual in this hobby, are the ones that are going to be around for a while. Just my opinion, But I truly believe for you to get and rise through the ranks of anything is that you've got to be a little bit unique. You've got to be a little bit different than everybody else. Different gets noticed. Unique gets noticed. Run of the mill, a lot of times gets overlooked. That's my push for you and my get to know coach this week. Be unique. Be an individual.
This is Simple Recessive gene number 2. She's very reactive. She's very emotional. She's one of my emotional animals. This is Blade or possibly Super Blade Clown. She'll be one of the clowns that I'm using to put het males to. And so this is the girl that's going to help me make a bunch of reduced pattern stuff. So this is either Blade or Super Blade. You know, there's some question as whether Blade is really a gene or really just kind of like a trait. But this came from a Blade clown female. She looks just like her mother. And a banana Pos Blade clown. And when these babies came out, we thought, my goodness, they're like completely reduced pattern. I mean, just beautiful, I think. This is the only clown visual that I've ever produced. This is Phantom Clown female, which is going to be fun because now we can play Super Phantom Clown, Purple Passion Clown, all kinds of things. And this is a female. This was a het pairing to a visual clown. So it was a phantom het clown to a clown. And I was just trying to prove out on my phantom het clown's het. 7 eggs. That's the only clown in the clutch. So when I tell you this hobby can be, it can be disappointing. What I call it can gut punch you. You know, you waited all this time, you grew all these animals up, and you go out to try to prove out a het, and you do. In a 7-egg clutch, I should have had at least 3 visual clowns. Possibly 4. I got 1. Pretty snake. You know, you would think Phantom and Mojave clowns would be darker. It's funny how light they are. It doesn't seem like they should be a light color like this. Let's show you one more in this category. He's a little male pickup. And this, I think, goes along with the clown recessive. Because this is Krypton. Right? And it's a lilac with clown. And so I run them together. I think I'm going to be running Krypton and clown pairing side by side. A lot. You know, you put this little male to a visual female clown, and everything comes out of that breeding is either going to be a visual clown or a Krypton. That's powerful. That's good stuff. That's what I'm interested in doing. So we got to get some more visual clown females grown up. You know, but this guy is Inchy, Krypton, possibly Orange Dream Yellow Belly as well. I'm going to have them tested for both Orange Dream and Yellow Belly. I don't know. I'm leaning that he has both, but I'm really leaning that he's Orange Dream Inchy. That's what I really think he is. But he's beautiful. I love when the Kryptons get that little mustache on the nose. I like that. I love the head. I love the thick eye stripes, right? To me, Krypton's really similar to Puzzle, right? And I love Puzzle. I just don't feel like I have the room for another recessive. But I felt like if I go Krypton, I can kind of enjoy a Puzzle look that's a lilac with clown, and I don't really have to have its own branch and have its own hets and all that garbage. So that's the plan. God, he's beautiful, man. J. Royals. Josh Jensen of J. Royals, the Acid Man, as I call him. produce this animal. All right, now for my number one simple recessive. Can you guess what it is? I love hypo. I want to hypo everything. I want a hypo desert ghost. I want a hypogenetic stripe. I want a hypo clown and krypton. I want a hypo VPI xanthic. The reason this is number one for me is it's the only simple recessive that I want to put with every other simple recessive. They're not all like that. It's like genetic stripe I'd like to put with clown. VPI xanthic I'd like to put with clown. I kind of like to probably mix them all up, but this for sure is the one I'm most excited about. This was my very first visual hypo ever produced. He is a hypo chocolate pistave. So that's hypo, which is the simple recessive, chocolate, mojave, and pastel, all incomplete dominant. And so he's a hypo. Let's take a look at his daughter. Just to get here's dad. Here's dad, hypo, chocolate, pistave. Here's his daughter. She is what I believe a triple homozygous animal. I believe she's hypo, homozygous for hypo. I believe she's homozygous for pastel, super pastel. And I believe she's homozygous for chocolate, super chocolate. And she has Mojave too. Oh, she's packed. I believe a triple homozygous animal. Just as hard to make, the VPI xanthic, desert ghost clown. Those are three supers as well. And so is she. So, kind of hard to make. Beautiful animals. Hypo's my number one recessive. Simple recessive gene. Love it to death.
All right, guys, that's going to do it again for another week, another video. I'm really having a great time. I'm really having so much fun filming these videos and producing something, that I've never really produced before in the 13 years that I've been doing this. And I'm having a great time with my YouTube channel. I'm having a great time interacting with those that choose to interact with me. I'm replying to every comment that I get, and I'm appreciative of every comment and every like that I'm receiving from people that are watching my videos. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you coming in and helping me try to get this project to where I want to get it to. And we're growing. We're growing slow, but we're growing. And I'm happy with that. I think you just have to be happy with improvement sometimes. I think sometimes as people, we reserve our joy and our happiness until we've finished and completed the goal. But I think that along the way, we should celebrate improvement. We should celebrate little wins along the way. And I think when you do that way, when you get to the very end and you've accomplished what you set out to accomplish, it means a whole lot more to you. Because you celebrated the small wins, stayed connected along the way. Like I said, I'm having a great time. I'm having an awesome time, and I greatly appreciate everybody that gives me just a couple minutes of their time and takes a look at my videos. So that's it for another one. I'm doing it. I'm very proud of myself that I've been able to continue to get out a video every week. The growth isn't where I really wished it would be. I'm not getting quite as many views as I thought I would be by now, but that's okay. That's okay, because when we do get there, and we'll get there, it's going to be that much sweeter. It's going to feel that much better. not having all of the victories that I thought we'd have already, but celebrate the victories that we are having. So I really appreciate you. I hope that I get that message through to you, that I appreciate you coming and seeing my video. I don't take that lightly. I really don't. I know everybody's time is valuable. I know my time is valuable. And I appreciate you coming and seeing me. I will have another video out for you next week. And so after this one, I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a room update, a room tour update. I've made some changes in the room since I did a update a tour a couple years ago. A lot's the same, but there are some changes. And again, I just want to give you an update on where my snake room is. So, thanks for coming. See you next week.